Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we've got a special tag team edition of a bourbon, and this is the Blanton's Original versus the Blanton's Gold. Both of these samples were given to me by a good friend Gus, so let's get into these and see what kind of differences we've got, if there's any at all. First one here is the original, and it's protected by coin number 43, so if you are interested in these coins, don't forget to check the description below and you can find out all about how to get hold of them. So the first one is Blanton's Original. Now in the UK it's relatively expensive, it's £60 and it's a 46.5%, it's 93 proof, but in the UK we're getting a 70cl bottle, not a 75cl bottle. Now this particular one came from Warehouse H, and that is Rick number 56, barrel number 198, and it was dumped in July 2017. Let's get into the nose of this thing and see what we've got, shall we? Now the first thing to know about this is it's got an amazing nose on it, really has. It's bags of vanilla that you're expecting to get from bourbons. Some butterscotch. It's a really, really tasty nose. There's a weird bit of spices on there as well, which is interesting. I'm leaning towards kind of cloves. Let's try on the palate, shall we? The mash bill on this is corn, rye and malted barley. There's some spiciness on the palate that's definitely coming from that rye influence, but it's really kind of vanilla and heavily oak forward. Really quite tasty. Now these don't have an age statement on them, but reportedly they're between 6 and 8 years. I don't know that for a fact, just something I read online, we'll see. Now, other thing I should say before we move on is that Blanton's was kind of introduced in 1984 and it's been kind of winning awards ever since. Now this original that we've got here, that's available in the US and worldwide, but the gold we're just about to cover is only available for international markets, myself included. Bit odd, you can't get that in America, but I think you must be able to if you go to the right channels, but probably not worth it. Let's get into the next one and see what kind of differences we're expecting. This one's protected by coin number 47. Both up for sale, so if you do want to get hold of either of those, then do let me know. So this one is a little bit higher on the ABV. We're talking 51.5%. I can give you the information about the warehouse as well. So Warehouse H again, same warehouse. This time it's Rick number 7, barrel number 337. But this one was dumped in November 2016. So it's been around a little bit longer. Let's have a little sniff. Now straight away I think the spice influence seems a bit heavier to me. We're only talking about 5% ABV more, but it's very, very interesting, very, very interesting. It's got some more like kind of tobacco notes to it, I think. Let's try on the palate. Wow, that's a zinger, that is. Lots more of them spices, loads more ABV influence on that. Alright, it just keeps going and going and going. But it's very, very similar, obviously. Lots of vanilla, lots of charred oak influence on there. A weird sweetness at the end. Sort of, just as you're about to swallow, there's a kind of honey sweetness element to it. Now, let's talk about prices. So, in the UK, the original is about £60. The gold is about £80 when you can get it. Obviously, this is single barrel whiskey, so these are batch released. Once the barrel's gone, it's gone. You move on to the next barrel. There are going to be changes in the quality of these whiskies. They're all going to be good, but there are going to be better ones, and there are going to be slightly less better ones. £60 is a lot of money for me. £80 is a hell of a lot more, and it isn't very often that I'll go out of my way to spend £80. Both of these whiskies are exceptional, and I really do hope I get to try them again in the future. But for my money, I think I would go for the original over the gold, purely based on the fact that although the gold I think probably is slightly better, it isn't enough better to warrant that extra £20. We can get some pretty good whiskey in the UK for not much more than £20, so I think I'd rather have the original and something else. Now, the mash bill on the excuse me. There's some spiciness to the palate, and I think that's kind of, I don't know what I'm talking about.